Alright, sige, let's start. We're going to discuss the wave 5 in this recorded lecture. So, yung principle of paternalism will be discussed in this lecture until euthanasia. Sige, let's start. Paternalism muna tayo. Paternalism tayo. Ang keyword under paternalism is the word pater. So, the word pater is derived from the Latin word pater itself, which means father. So, under the principle of paternalism, two individuals are involved. Yung nangingialam, which we suppose person A, and then person B yung pinapakailaman. So, under paternalism, the aim of the one who's an authority, yung mangingialam, the aim of his interference is the principle of non-maleficence. And then something is being violated here, which is the principle of autonomy. So for under this principle, yung mangingialam sees the principle of autonomy as something defective. That's why it's necessary for person A to interfere to protect person B in executing his principle of autonomy. Okay, in this case, the principle of paternalism views the rights of person B and then the freedom of person B. Is it limited or is it absolute? In this case, it's not absolute. Right? So, ang naglilimit ng freedom and rights of person B is person A. So, under paternalism, we have the father figure. So, the father in this case appears to know best. That's why it's necessary for the father figure to interfere to protect the person B. Okay, so yung paternity, again, it's derived from being a father, yung Latin word na pater. Alright, sige, let's proceed with the different types of paternalism and then let's discuss first pure paternalism. So under pure paternalism, dalawang word ulit, pure and paternalism. Paternalism, nandun parati yung word na pangingialam. Someone always tries to intervene on someone's principle of autonomy. In this case, the reason why it's pure because the aim of the one who interferes is to protect person B. Again, we have person A and then we have person B. In this case, yung person A dito are your parents. It could be your parents. So bakit siya tinawag na pure paternalism? Mainly because the aim of person A is to protect person B. And another indicator why it's called pure is the recipient, the person B here, is doing well. When I say doing well, wala siyang nararamdaman na hindi siya defective, wala siyang nararamdaman na sakit. So yun yung objective of this type of paternalism. The purpose again of the interference is for the sole welfare of the recipient. Okay, yan po yung keyword natin. Tapos the recipient is doing well. Okay, autonomy and liberty of the person B is being violated primarily because person A would want to protect person B. Okay, yan yung pure paternalism. Now let's go to impure paternalism. So impure paternalism, the recipient is not doing well. And there is still interference. Not the objective of person A, yung mangingialam towards person B, may pangatlong person na involved na dito. Okay? Mangingialam sa person A kay B so that person B would benefit from the interference as well as those people who are around person B. Okay? Person B and person C. Marami tong C. Ito yung mga taong nakapaligid kay person B. So, person A needs to interfere, needs to violate, needs to limit the freedom and then limit the principle of autonomy of person B so that person B would benefit from the interference of person A. So, yung interference sa person A, magbe-benefit din yung yung people who are around person B. This stands yung variable ng letter C. Alright? So again, the reason why it's called impure, hindi maganda yung kondisyon ni person B. And then yung principle of autonomy and liberty ni person B is being violated. Okay? May mga values na pinapahalagan si person B but these are being violated by person A. so that person B would eventually achieve a complete welfare, a complete achievement of what is good for person B. Right? Sige, punta tayo kay restricted paternalism. Restricted paternalism, ang keyword dito is the recipient has defects. Okay? When I say defect, the person B, letter A tsaka letter B tayo ulit. Letter B is incompetent, is physiologically defective. Example of that is persons who have Down syndrome. So they are mentally incapacitated to create decisions for themselves. That's why person A creates decision for person B. Okay, it's restricted because the recipient has limitations. Again, the purpose of the intervention under restricted paternalism is the recipient is incompetent. Example is yung may mga Down syndrome, may defects, and they have weakness. Okay, that's why it's called restricted. Again, the recipient has limitations. Okay, now we go with to number 4, extended paternalism. So take note, the word used here is extended. So it refers something to the possible effect. Okay, we have the cause and then we have the effect. So it extends towards the possible effects of the intervention. Again, the purpose of intervention under this item is to prevent a risky action. A keyword here is risky action. There's a dangerous action that's going to happen. That's why it is being prevented by person A. Okay, again, nandun pa rin si person A, nandun pa rin si person B. So I have to limit down your action, because if you're not going to limit down your action, the action that you're going to do would be detrimental on your part. Okay, kasi I can see the possible effect that might happen if you're going to continue doing that particular action. So in this case, the action here is not wearing a helmet. So if you're not going to wear helmet, I have to prevent the action, which is to travel. You cannot travel if you do not have any helmet. So it's extended to a possible effect. If you continue to travel without wearing any helmet, it's going to be risky on your part. So may nakikita tayong danger dun sa action pag itutuloy mo. That's extended paternalism. Okay? Sige, punta tayo sa positive paternalism. Ang keyword naman sa positive paternalism is rehabilitation. So in this case, the recipient is not doing well again, and the purpose of intervention is for the promotion of well-being, promotion of health, i-reconstruct ulit yung disposition of the recipient because the recipient is not doing well. So rehabilitate to reconstruct again. So that's the keyword. The reason why it's positive kasi may effect na positive effect dun sa recipient, which is to rehabilitate the former disposition of the recipient. Okay, example niyan yung if you are injured and then someone would intervene in this particular case, this image sa rehabilitation program of those who are injured, the aim of the person here, itong mga tao dito sa paligid, is to promote your wellness kasi injured ka eh. So objective, mangingialam kami, we will limit down your actions, your movement. You cannot do this, you cannot do that. So may limitation of actions. But the reason of their interference is to reconstruct your current position. Okay? Now, let's go to negative paternalism. So, negative paternalism naman, the reason why it's called negative, it's because something has to be negated. When we say negated, something has to be removed. Anong tatanggalin dito is something is taken kasi yung kinuha galing dun sa recipient is detrimental dun sa recipient. Okay, so don't get confused with extended paternalism and then negative paternalism. Sa negative paternalism, ang indicator natin dito, number 1 key element or indicator that we have to remember is something is being taken away from the recipient. Okay, something is being confiscated from the recipient. Because that object which is being taken away from the recipient may cause harm to the recipient. Okay, example for that is no smoking. tinatanggal yung opportunity of workers, for instance, to smoke right after their break, or right after their first shift. They might possibly have a break, and then during the break they can smoke. So example of negative paternalism is yung opportunity to smoke during breaks tinatanggal kasi yung paggamit ng smoke is dangerous for the recipient. Okay, that's negative paternalism. Now, we proceed with soft paternalism. Ang soft paternalism naman is indirect. Kaya siya tinawag na soft kasi may indirect na pangingialam yung person A. So, soft means the intervention happens indirectly. So, what person A does is to use your values to influence your decision making. So, again, intervention happens by using the values of the recipient to influence the recipient's action or decision. An example for this is, if you donate money, you give food. So this is the original value of person B. All right. So if you're going to use money for someone else to give food, it's good. That's a value being lived by nung person B. And then person A uses this value for this particular decision making. So if you donate money, you give food, but if you donate blood, you give life. So ang punto lang natin dito, kung kaya mo magbigay ng pera, kaya mo rin magbigay ng dugo. So merong indirect influence of person A dun sa possible decision making ni person B kasi nga ginagamit niya na tong donation of money na sana i-apply niya rin dito sa donation of blood. Right? So that's soft paternalism. Now let's go to number 8, which is hard paternalism. So hard paternalism naman, yung values ng person B, again, person A ulit tayo and then person B, yung values na pinapahalaga ni person B appears to be inferior already. Again, sa soft paternalism, yung values ni person B superior pa rin. Pero may indirect influence sa person A. Sa hard paternalism, the reason why it's called hard kasi yung values na pinapahalaga ni person B appears to be inferior already. So anong mas mahalagang values? Yung values ni A is superior na over dun sa values ni person B. So the purpose of interference or intervention is the recipient's personal values do not matter anymore. So yung values here, ang mas mahalagang values na ngayon yung person A. Okay? So, values of someone who is in authority is more superior. That's why it's called hard. Mas superior na yung values ni person A dun sa values ni person B. The values of the authority directs the values of the recipient. So, may direct interference. Dun sa soft paternalism, may indirect interference. Alright? So, example for this is normal delivery versus cesarean delivery. So why do I use this example? Because normal delivery causes less compared to cesarean delivery. So kung medyo magtitipid yung parents for the cost of giving birth, ang pinakamagandang choice is normal delivery. So it would cost, I think, from 50,000 pesos to 70,000 pesos. But if it's going to be cesarean, it would cost the mother around 100,000 pesos to 250,000 pesos. Okay, so hindi na mahalaga yung values nung mother, but ang values na nagdirect dun sa values ni nanay is the doctor himself. Why? Why is that in this case possible? Kasi in this case, there are particular instances, for example, wherein normal delivery won't work for the baby anymore. So if the mother would insist continue to use normal delivery, it would be, again, detrimental dun sa buhay ng nanay at saka nung anak. So in this case, para maiwasan yung threat na meron dun sa fetus dun sa infant and then kay nanay, the doctor, the person A, uses his values to direct the values of the mother. So ang gumana na dito is cesarean delivery. Cesarean delivery, the values of the doctor over the values of the mother, the recipient, which is the person B in normal delivery. Alright? Sige, punta tayo sa direct paternalism. Again, direct paternalism is different from negative paternalism and extended paternalism. And sa hard paternalism din. Sa direct paternalism, ang keyword dito is legal sanctions and legal norms. Okay, may direct na pangingialam ang batas sa mga actions natin. So that's it. Yun lang yung keyword nun. So the purpose of legal norms, these are created to limit our actions. Okay, legal norms have corresponding legal sanctions if they are not followed properly. So legal sanctions, legal penalties are imposed if you do not follow, if the recipient doesn't follow the legal norms that are created for the recipient. Okay, the legal norms are created for the recipient so that the recipient will be kept from harm. Okay, so ibig sabihin, gumawa ako ng batas to always wear the helmet. Okay, so yung sa direct, yung sa extended paternalism naman kasi, ang ina-highlight doon is the risk if you're going to continue your action traveling without wearing the helmet. So ang point lang na extended paternalism is the action. It's directed towards the action. Kaya siya tinawag na extended. Ang direct paternalism naman, ang direct paternalism and then extended paternalism, they go hand in hand. Ang direct paternalism focuses on the creation of norms, legal norms, batas na ginagawa ng gobyerno natin para mailayo tayo sa kapahamakan. Kasi kung hindi mo gagawin kung hindi ka susunod sa batas, there are penalties that will be imposed sa violation or non-conformity dun sa created norms. Alright? Next, punta tayo sa indirect paternalism. Sa indirect paternalism naman, compared dito sa soft paternalism, magkaiba to. Again, ang soft paternalism, the person A uses the values of the person B. Sa indirect paternalism, may tatlong taong involved. Okay, we have person A, person B, and then person C. Si person A walang direct influence kay person C. Ang direct influence niya ay dito kay person B. Why would person A interfere or have a direct influence on person B? Because person B causes direct harm kay person C. Okay, an example for this is abuse, child abuse. So in order for me to limit down the actions of person B, papakailaman ko ngayon si person B. So I have to limit down the freedom of person B so that person B will not affect person C anymore. Okay, indirect, there is no direct contact of restriction with the recipient of the benefit. So ibig sabihin, wala akong direct, the person A or the someone who's in authority doesn't have a direct influence on the principle of autonomy and freedom of person C. Saan siya may direct na influence, yung principle of autonomy and then limitation of freedom dito kay person B. Kasi si person B does harm dito kay person C. Alright? So the purpose of intervention or interference is to restrain a person. So I'm going to restrain person B in causing harm to the recipient of benefit. Okay? So a good example for this is child abuse. Alright, so that's indirect paternalism. Let's go to personal paternalism. Personal paternalism refers to the person. Ito si person A na to. It highlights the attributes present in person A. So under personal paternalism, it acknowledges the credibility of person A. That's why person A has the right to interfere over person B. Kasi ano ba yung attribute ni person A? Person A possesses qualified and best knowledge ng welfare ni person B. Okay, personal, ibig sabihin may mga credible attributes na makikita tayo dun sa personality ni person A. Okay, that's why person A has the right to interfere over person B. Alright? So these are credible attributes possessed by the mediator or the person A. And a good example for this are doctors. So the doctors can limit down, for instance, if the patient has high cholesterol in his blood, the doctor mag-i-intervene yan and then would advise person B to limit down the consumption of meat, of pork, or any food with high cholesterol and sodium. So may limitation of action na ginagawa si person A kasi si person A is qualified. Okay? May mga attributes, may mga qualities na meron si person A, kung kaya dapat si person B should listen to the pieces of advice made by person A. Alright, so that's personal paternalism. Then last, state paternalism. So state paternalism in relation with direct paternalism is also connected with state paternalism. For state paternalism, this highlights the power and then function of the legislative branch of the government. Okay? Or of the state. Okay, yung state na tinutukoy dito is the government. So the purpose of the intervention is the government or the legislative branch. This is the Congress, this is the lower house, yung House of Representatives, yung mga congressman natin, the upper house, this includes also the upper house, yung mga senador natin, their main function is to create laws. Okay? So after creating laws, andun na yung direct paternalism. Alright? So we have state laws na ginagawa ng legislative branch ng government natin for the welfare of the nation. So we're talking about the welfare na hindi ng isang specific na individual, kundi it's the welfare of the whole state. It's the welfare of the whole nation. That's why it's called state paternalism. Mangingialam ang gobyerno para sa kapakanan hindi lang ng isang individual kundi ng buong bansa. Okay, a good example for this is in this image, I think they were able to pass the contraception RH reproductive health before this issue became controversial. Naging bill muna siya eh. So yung reproductive health bill regarding the use of contraception, kailangan bang gawing batas to o hindi? So para maging batas siya for the welfare of everybody, gumawa ng batas yung legislative branch. Okay, another example under the government is the lockdown. Okay, kailangan gumawa ng batas para sundin lahat. Kasi otherwise, if there will be no lockdown, maraming maapektuhan. The totality of the nation will be affected. Okay? So again, yun lang po yung sa ating paternalism issue. So if I'm going to discuss this one, problem seen by Diego in marriage, and then what's the solution to this problem, and then ano kayang type of paternalism? The paternalism that I'm going to indicate here would be hard paternalism. This one, tingnan natin. Si hard paternalism. You can the reason why I'm going to use hard paternalism is you are in love. Okay? If you're going to enter into a relationship, obviously you love that somebody. Okay? So I can possibly use hard paternalism, and then pwede ring personal paternalism insofar that I'm going to include a specific person. Okay? In this case kasi si Diego hindi naniniwala sa marriage eh. So meron pa ba tayo pwedeng ipasok dito? State paternalism, malabo. Pwede ring sige, mag-stick na lang muna ako bakit siya direct paternalism, or pwede ring pure paternalism. Okay, kasi maganda naman yung disposition ng dalawa. Rating ko po. depende sa variables present in a specific case. Okay, I can use pure paternalism, pero for the sake of discussion, let's just use hard paternalism. Okay, kasi mas superior daw, according to hard paternalism, mas superior daw yung values ng authority kumpara dun sa values ng individual. Okay, in this case, we are talking about the values of Diego and then the values of someone who's in superior. Okay? Dalawang taong mahal nilang isa't isa. Okay, si person A at si person B. We're talking about love. If you're going to enter into a relationship, kasama dyan yung mutual agreement of the two. Mahal nyo ang isa't isa. Andyan ang emotions, andyan ang physical attraction. Magkasama yan. Pero walang kasiguraduhan eventually that your emotions would fade. Okay? So you have your own personal values. Si letter A at si letter B. Let's assume letter A is Diego. Let's assume letter B here is his wife. So pwede rin kayong mag-assume bakit natin kailangan ipasok ang marriage. Bakit natin kailangan ipasok ang papel for two persons who are actually in love. Okay, so you're going to invest your time, you're going to invest a lot of emotions, a lot of physical investment with the other person because you're in love. You're going to commit yourself. Okay, now when we say commit, tingnan natin tong ibig sabihin ng commitment. Commitment. Let's check. So when we say commitment, it's a dedication, it's a responsibility, ayan po, malinaw. An engagement or obligation that restricts freedom of action. So that is commitment. So you have, doon pa lang, makikita na natin is love is the hidden word that how to define love is also paternalism. Kasi may maglilimit ng action mo eh. May maglilimit ng action mo. It could be your partner or ikaw rin maglilimit ka rin ng action dyan. Ganyan po ang marriage. Once you enter into a relationship, once you fall in love, you have to commit yourself. And if you're going to commit yourself with the other person because you love that other person, ibig sabihin, ibibigay mo yung sarili mo dun sa isang tao kasi you see that other person as a deserving person who can direct your life. Okay, kaya nga love is somehow, tingnan natin ulit ang ibig sabihin ng love. Love is meaning. There's a deep feeling of affection, merong attraction, merong liking, merong andun pa rin yung happiness. You enjoy each other's happiness. You are attached with that other person. Yun ang ibig sabihin ng mahal. Gusto mo lang siya parating nakikita, and you are totally inclined with that other person. So, ipasok natin tong affection and then feeling. Okay, intense feeling to the point that you have, since we're talking about romantic love, papasok dyan yung sex. Okay? So, love involves a deep feeling. Kung romantic yan, it will always involve sex. Okay, sige. Balikan natin tong si Diego. Okay. Si Diego, who doesn't believe in marriage. So, we have what type of paternalism? I'd like to use direct paternalism. Okay? So, Diego doesn't believe in marriage mainly because of his past experience with his parents. Okay, yung parents na hiwalay din, kaya hindi siya nag-workout. But hindi siya nag-workout, there's a certain fear na nakikita ni Diego. If you're going to commit yourself with love, if you're going to commit yourself with the other person, it's lifetime. Okay, it's lifetime. So commitment, ibig sabihin ng commitment, your freedom will be limited. So one of the many fears of Diego is that his freedom will be limited. Ulitin ko po, one important condition of love is for your freedom to be limited. So if you're not ready to commit, ibig sabihin nun, hindi ka handang magmahal. At kung hindi ka handang magmahal, mas binavalue mo yung freedom mo over love, which is not the case. Kasi if you really love that someone, you are ready to give up your freedom. You are ready to limit down your freedom. In this case, ayaw ni Diego i-limit down yung freedom niya. Kasi kung walang marriage, I have the freedom. My freedom is absolute. I can easily decide to discard myself, i-dissolve yung sarili ko sa'yo. Once na dumating tayo sa punto na magkasawaan tayo because of unending fights, because we are incompatible, because eventually we just found out that we are incompatible, I can easily go back to my freedom. Okay, ibig sabihin, I can easily discard our commitment, our relationship, kasi mas binavalue ko yung freedom over sa commitment. In this case, this is not marriage. Kasi ang marriage po is always the limitation of your freedom. Okay? Now, how do we solve this problem? Kasi magiging cycle yan eh. If I'm going to limit down my freedom, dapat yung letter B din, yung other person should also be ready to limit down her freedom. Kung hindi niya kayang i-limit down yung freedom niya, nagkakaroon ng problema. So I think the main problem in marriage is the freedom, the issue about freedom, the issue of someone who's limiting your freedom. Okay? So kung paulit-ulit hindi na siya naging compatible, we have to introduce a more superior variable in paternalism. So ibig sabihin AB, dapat merong merong variable C. Merong variable C na mediator between our incompatibilities na makikita natin in the future. Sino to? We have to include God. Okay, we have to include religion. Kasi ganito po yan. Kung nakikita mo na nakakainis na yung partner mo, tapos si letter B nakikita ka rin na nakakainis na person, after 5 years, after 6 years, nakikita nyo na yung baho nyo, ang magiging fallback nyo always is your fear dito kay God. Okay? If you put God as the center of your relationship, okay? Ibig sabihin, kung dumating man sa point na mag-away tayo, okay, si Diego, makaaway niya yung partner niya, si person B. Si person B, ganun din, makaaway niya si Diego because of some incompatibilities in the future. Naging bungangera si person B. Naging may mga ugali to si Diego na nakita niya after being married, for instance, with Diego for several years. If you're going to include God as the center of your relationship, magdadalawang isip ka na magdadalawang isip ka with regard to the expression of your freedom. Okay? Anong ibig ko sabihin yan? May freedom silang dalawa. So I can, kung may freedom ako, may values ako na pwedeng sabihin sa'yo, I value my own freedom. Yung fear mo kay God, yung fear mo sa Diyos, would counteract your decision and na-value yung freedom mo. Okay? Kasi eventually, yung value mo over, kasi dalawa lang yan eh. Ano bang mas mahalaga sa'yo? Yung sarili mong freedom o yung pananagutan mo sa Diyos once you die? Kasi marriage, you can only marry according to religion, according to the Bible. Hindi mo na pwedeng ipaghiwalayin ang taong pinagsama mo na. Okay? So again, darating lang tayo dun sa sobrang incompatibility tayo kung wala kang Diyos. Maiiwasan mo yung sobrang incompatibility tayo kung may Diyos ka. Yun lang po ang point ko. Okay? So maiiwasan natin yung bungangaan. Maiiwasan natin yung panchichiks. Maiiwasan natin yung infidelity. Kung mas may matatakot ka muna sa Diyos bago dun sa partner mo. Kasi if you put God first, mas matatakot ka sa Diyos. Ibig sabihin nun, mas magdadalawang isip ka if you're going to hurt your partner or not. Kahit na sobrang nakakainis siya, kahit na sobrang incompatible kayo. Kasi alam mo na mag-limit down ng iyong values ay si God, na mas superior yung values niya over your own personal values, over your own personal freedom. Okay? So I think, again, this is my own personal viewpoint. The reason why other marriages last, tumatagal, it's not mainly because the other person loves the other person, but I think the two persons will always, parati nilang pinapasok yung konsepto ng Diyos. Kasi ang konsepto ng Diyos ang maglilimit down sa iyong personal absolute freedom. Okay? So, on direct paternalism, ang pinakamalapit that we'll discuss this one. Alright? So, let's move on with truth-telling.